It's Saturday, June 14th, and I want to share with you a little bit of beauty that I was gifted today. Excuse me. So my first client of the day came to me and gave me this. She painted this. That is amazing to me, and I am so grateful for that. I have a jar of hot pepper jelly from another client over there. Excuse me, and I'm so grateful for those gifts that I get. Weirdly, I have this on my table and I want to show you this. This is a gift that I give people. So anytime somebody comes to see me for a session or they have one via Zoom, I send them a 4-leaf clover charm. So it's a little plug for my readings. If you want a one-on-one reading, you can get that. But today is No King's Day, and that is the day of protests based around the military parade that's happening through Washington, D.C. And here I am busy all day. I was able to drive by one of the protests here in town and honk in solidarity. But in interest of that, I want to read to you a chapter out of this book that is my, like, I don't know how to describe it. Like, I can die now that this book is out in the world. The Secret to Life Ain't So Secret. And it has all of these chapters and vignettes and things that I've picked up from Spirit. But I want to read to you the page or the chapter called No One is Immune. And on the opposite, here's No One is Immune. On the opposite, we have this little image that I put in here of the Pied Piper of Hamelin. So that should tell you where we're going with this. This follows the chapter, The Blueprint We're Born With. But no one is immune. Authoring our own story is challenging, to say the least. The part of your mind that repeats those villainous variables in programming back to you is the same part of your brain that learned the alphabet in your native language. The mind repeats to us what influences it, and everything around us constantly influences it, whether we realize it or not. The art of critical thinking is essential to a peaceful spirit. I have felt great sadness as I've watched people lose themselves to their political affiliations, wasting their lives on political parties based solely on their exposure to media. They've taken causes they believe worth fighting for and turned them into their very personalities. The same goes for religion. How do we discern what we're consuming? How do we not lose ourselves to propaganda? First, we should understand that all humans are motivated by either fear or love. Remember the horse and rider part of our equation? And I'll pause here because that's the first chapter. The fact that we are a horse, a body, and a rider, a soul. We're a spirit of love that's inhabiting an animal of nature. We are either love and spirit dominant or fear and animal dominant. Most variables we pick up along the way would keep us in a state of fear and animal dominance because we're easier to control and spend more money on our way through life because of it. Look around you. How many people around you are motivated by fear and how many by love? We can see this division in people around us and in the organizations that people create, from religion to politics. We can see fear or love in our political organizations, and we can see fear and love in religious organizations. As far as conventional churches of the Christian variety go, they'll either preach God's eternal love or God's eternal damnation. It's pretty easy to tell the difference. Politics can be far more nuanced, where at least you have tangible information and facts to base policies on, sometimes. Those who can't see the difference between love and fear in religious or political messages will often come to fear the other. Christian churches that prey on fear will tell you that you have to toe the line so you don't end up in hell or thrown out of God's kingdom. They may even pound you over the head with the idea of demons and devils. Political organizations that rely on fear as a motivator will include the fear of others who come from other countries or are the neighbors across the street who are different from you. The McCarthyism of the 1950s showed us what fear of communists would do to people, and that included the concentration camps for Japanese citizens on United States soil. We can see how Hitler rose to power by appealing to the fear and animalistic nature of the populace. In that particularly horrendous story, Jewish people were the other that caused all of society's problems, as well as marginalized groups like homosexuals. Watching people waste their precious lives clutching their pearls over imaginary monsters is one of my biggest heartaches. Perhaps it's their journey to lead lives with the wool pulled over their eyes, yet time and again I receive messages as a medium of the regret people felt when they lost their lives to an idea. Those ideas aren't just of the political or religious variety. They can include fairy tales. The fairy tales of Cinderella, Snow White, and Sleeping Beauty can cause us untold problems. While we should learn critical thinking in public education, sadly, we do not. One could say we live in a capitalistic society that doesn't benefit from people who can think critically, but for all of that, here's what I've discovered about critical thinking. If anyone believes they've mastered the art of critical thinking, they haven't mastered the art of critical thinking. Critical thinking is the ability to analyze information based on objective facts, and sadly, most people make decisions based on their emotions and opinions and not rationally. No one is immune to propaganda. No one is immune to emotional manipulation or losing themselves to fear-based groupthink, and we must remain on the lookout for it every day in everything we consume. And at the end of each chapter, I have a little pause and ponder section, so I'd like to read to you that. We are born into a world already telling stories about who's worthy, who's dangerous, who's right, and who's wrong. But those stories aren't always true, and even the wisest among us can get caught up in them. While none of us are immune, we are capable of choosing awareness over autopilot and love over fear. What beliefs do I hold today that I've never fully questioned? Where did they come from? When I look at my politics, my faith, my values, can I trace them to love or to fear? What role does critical thinking play in my spiritual life? How do I stay open without being gullible and discerning without being cynical? Are there groups, people, or ideas I've been taught to fear? What would happen if I replace that fear with curiosity or compassion? And finally, who am I when I strip away the slogans, the labels, the programs, and just listen to the deeper voice inside? Pretty proud of this. It's available on my website. So this is a little bit longer of a video, but I think it's appropriate for today's message. And I want to thank you for being here. And as my client's gift to me showed us, creating a little bit of beauty in this world goes a long way. So thank you for being here. To learn more about me, to find that book, to find my podcast, to find all the good stuff that I offer to this world, find me online at joshsimons.com.